Hey bitches, welcome to my all-time favorite decks. And this is one that will probably not surprise a lot of people that have been here for a while. Is this like an amazing deck? No. It's probably really like maybe I set the tone wrong when I did the like most highbrow decks in my collection first. But I'm by no means a snob that feels he is too good for a deck like this. The Millennium Thoth is an instrumental deck in my practice. Not because it's amazing, not because it's the best ever, but because it is, oh look at, I even edged it, look at how horrible. But because it is essentially what it was my introduction to Thoth. And this is more of a modernized sort of photo manipulation, with drawings here and there, but very much photo manipulated Thoth deck. And it's very much, you know, models from the 90s from Russia doing doing the Thoth characters, and then obviously the face cards or the pip cards are the pip cards, you know. And I really like it. We don't really have a whole lot of modern mass market Thoth clones. We have, like I've bitched about this before, and I'm gonna bitch about it even more because I don't care. We have a gazillion RWS clones. And we have this, and then last year, I don't even know where that piece of shit is, but last year we got that Thoth clone that was really bad. I didn't like at all. I still have it. It's called the Aleister Crowley Tarot, I think. How that got past the Order Template Orientis, I don't know, but this is a staple. This is a go-to deck, a staple. This is what actually, because this is what led me to the actual Thoth, because I didn't like the Thoth at all. I thought it was really ugly, and it wasn't until I started working with this and then started reading, then after a couple of like months, got an actual Thoth and started reading Understanding Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot by Milo Duquette, that I actually developed a real love for the actual Thoth. Now, I don't use the actual Thoth a lot with other people, and let me tell you why. I believe that even although the card titles are correct in, you know, Golden Dawn Thoth teaching, you know, the minors will have, people will say keywords, but they're actually the titles of the cards. Matter of fact, those cards, the cards in the RWS carry the same title. I love this Eight of Wands, by the way. Like, the colors in this deck really do pop. I find those keywords not distracting for me at all, because I have studied tarot and I know what all these cards entail and what they entail in their different combinations through experience. But what I have found is that it can startle the querent. So I don't do a shit ton of readings for people. Like, I could pretend like I'm very successful in my tarot business. I do some festivals every now and then, and I will sell the occasional online reading. The shop where I used to read at closed down, unfortunately, so that kind of sucks, because that brought in a lot of readings, even if it, you know, not just at the shop, but also in my free time through their website. So that kind of sucks, but whenever I used to use the actual Thoth, and even at, like, the festival settings, people get spooked. Because, you know, ruin, keywords like ruin, worry, they don't really like, people don't like seeing that, even though it might be the truth. It does come across a bit like intense and harsh. And that is actually why I like this one so much, because we actually have a Thoth deck without keywords. which is pretty cool. Now, I would actually love it if there would, oh, look at that Princess of Pentacles though. Like, this is a really, really well done deck. Honestly, like, I have some of Renata's other decks, and I have to say her style can sometimes be visually, like, very rotten. But in this one, it's actually pretty tight. Like, out of the 3 tarot decks she did for Los Scarabeo, this is but no doubt the best. And it's no doubt also the sexiest, because the Thoth is very sexy. Let's face it. I adore this fool. Yeah, and it's, you know, and it's very body beautiful, and you know, it's the fantasy, but I live for the fantasy. Let me live in the fantasy, and it's a very good Thoth deck. Most of the symbolism is there, bar from a couple. Like, a lot of like Thoth purists love to bash this copy because not every little bit of geometry and symbolism is in every card. But honestly, for a Thoth clone, I feel like Renata really did do her research and, you know, recreated them to the best of her ability. I mean, and especially these pips, these are gorgeous. Like, where Lady Frida Harris's art is a little bit more abstract sometimes, with Renata, especially in the pips, we get this gorgeous line work in some of these, like, staffs. And it's just stunning. It's really, really well done. I like it a lot. So, yeah, that's why this is sort of a favorite of mine. Because I like the art. I love this Queen of Swords. Like, she did it so good. I love the art, but also I love the fact that the jarring keywords aren't on there. Also, a reason why I don't really use the Barbara Walker tarot anymore, because that has, like, Barbara Walker has a really interesting take on the cards anyways, so you kind of, you know, and it's definitely sort of, the Barbara Walker tarot is like, I love it, it's my everything, but it's also very much, Barbara is a Debbie Downer, so, you know, if you want to be uplifted, don't use that deck, you know. I love this devil too, like, come on, really stunning. Yeah, this definitely is like one of my favorite mass market decks out there. It's starting to get a bit worn. I am finding that with a lot of these favorites, I have to like get new copies of it because they are sort of getting worn out a little bit. But this is just so this is my favorite deck. It is like this moon card. It's just so good. The colors are so vibrant. You know, and not every deck that we like, you know, especially me as a more deck focused, you know, although I do like talk about decks a lot from the perspective of, you know, I hate to say the thinking man, but I'd like to think I have valid opinions and reasons for doing things the way I do and saying things the way I say them, and you know, I like to think I have actual content and not just vapid flip-throughs. You know, I have been noticing, so this is going to be another whiny think piece, sorry guys, but I have been noticing that with a lot of you know, Facebook groups, YouTubers, you know, when we do things like these, we automatically tend to choose the, you know, when we do our favorite decks, we automatically tend to go for the most expensive indie decks that we have. When, you know, matter of fact, I do take some indie, like, for example, the Star Child Tarot Akashic is like a staple deck of mine that I always bring with me to festivals, not just because of how I like that deck, but also because it has an aesthetic that attracts people, you know. People will always want to take pictures of their readings and shit like that. So I will take indie decks, but, you know, once they are, like, stolen or damaged, or once they get lost, they are irreplaceable, which kind of does limit my bond with them in a way where I'm, like, super bonded with this, because, you know, no matter what happens, even if I throw like a whole cup of coffee over this, I know that I can, at least in the next like 5 to 10 years, I will be able to replace it. And I'm not a fan of getting, you know, there's a lot of tarot people that do this thing where they get 3 copies of a deck, 1 to use, 1 to keep, and 1 just in case. I'm not about that life at all, but I will probably get another copy of this because it is pretty worn in. Like, this gilding that I did myself was like super fucking vibrant, and you can kind of tell the little damages. I mean, this is not like I'm gonna keep using this till it's completely like rotten, but look, we get the 9 of Cups. You know, that's such a funny card. I love how in the Thoth, at least for me, the 9s do represent that perfection almost. Not necessarily in the swords, but I believe that especially in the Cups and the Pentacles, the 9s are basically the point where you should be content enough to stop, and the 10s are a little bit overboard. For example, 9 of Cups to me represents like that perfect contentment. I mean, look at how gorgeous this is as well, with like the lotus flowers and the flowing water, and everything is in harmony. This literally looks like perfection, but the 10s are like 10 of Pentacles, 10 of Discs, 10 of Cups is like almost like this frantic over this emotion, but then in overdrive, where it's almost like a little bit too much. The perfect happy family makes my eyes twitch, and this is, you know, you being happy with yourself and where you're at, which is interesting. Also, 6 of Swords, I find that amazing because you know, so this is telling us that we are very content where we're at, but also we need to kind of make decisions intellectually where we can, you know, move on and move away from old and stale ideas, or, you know, or we want to stay in that. So maybe this contentment, oh, that's interesting. I love it. I love readings. I love doing readings, people. Like, so we're very content, like we're amazing where we're at, but, you know, maybe that contentment, sometimes we can languish in that a little bit too long and linger in that a little bit too long, where our brain is actively telling us to know we actually need to move the fuck on. We need to get a move on with our lives, because or not, like, it's a choice that we can make, but it's probably telling us that there's gonna be, and there is a finality to that contentment, and we're gonna have to be stimulating ourselves mentally enough so that we can actually, like, honestly move on to something more intellectually challenging. I wonder what that's gonna be. So interesting. I've been getting Justice a lot. So, you know, like, I didn't do it for every video, because yesterday my boyfriend walked in, and the day before that as well. But my idea was to finish each one of these videos with a little reading, and you know, it's time to so what this is basically telling me, this whole sequence of cards, is time to get back to reality. Which is funny, because I was watching a fabulous video by Sylvain over at Sylvain's Deadly Sins. Love that channel. He's been away for a while, but he's back now, and he has like amazing, like, rambly videos, but they're good, and they're very and they are videos that confront you. And I'm an adult, so I like being confronted sometimes, especially by people who I respect. And not everything needs to be covered in I don't know, how do you say that in English? All of a sudden I'm illiterate, but not everything needs to be like shits, giggles, and rainbows and unicorns. And he likes to clock it how it is, and he was talking about the tarot community, the tarot world, especially the deck world, and how the spell has been broken. And I feel like this kind of represents that. We were in a spell. It's broken. Time for balance. And I have to be honest about my life as well. I was very, 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 and still am, very addicted to smoking. I love smoking. I love smoking so much. I would literally, like, if you were to put a pack of cigarettes in front of me, if you were to lay down a pack of cigarettes or a vape on the table right now, and if you were to like taunt me and say, come on, let's smoke one together, it's gonna be so much fun, that honestly sounds like the best thing ever to me. Like, makes me even happier than all my little trinkets and possessions. And that notion alone is so sad and so decrepit that I have decided to never ever smoke again. And I have been doing so for like 2.5, 3 weeks now. But it's been really difficult, especially in the beginning. I didn't even want to quit, but my boyfriend was constantly nagging about it because I vaped a lot. And vaping has been all over the news. It's supposedly very bad. My mom was like nagging about it as well. I didn't want to quit at all. I kind of quit for them, which is never a good idea. And then I started having withdrawal symptoms, which were so bad and so horrible that I knew I can never touch a cigarette again in my life because this is not normal. So then I actually wanted to quit. So I've still quit, and it's going pretty well. It's going great. But the spell has been broken, and we need to move on from all that was, and we need to bring balance back into our lives. And also, we need to be honest towards ourselves regarding our life, our health, but also our ideas in our head, and whether or not we're being 100% real. We gotta continue to keep it real. We gotta continue to, even if those thoughts and ideas are difficult to think about, we need to stay in reality. That's what these cards are telling me. Even though this is so good, like, I'm once again using my cigarette nicotine addiction as an analogy. The best feeling ever, which sounds sad. I hear how sad it sounds, but smoking a cigarette with nicotine in it is the best sensation my body has ever felt. But it's not real, and we need to get to real. Keep it real. Keep it 100. We're clocking it how it is. We're continuing to be ourselves. And on that note, I want to finish this video. Thank you very much for watching. By the way, if you want to book a reading with me, I will put because as you can tell, I'm pretty good at readings. I can make a 3-card reading last a while. I could get even more info from this. For example, how in this spread we have mind over heart. So mind over heart. So maybe it's time to start using our mind a little bit more instead of our heart. But I'm not gonna, because I could go on for like 20 more minutes. But I'm gonna put some info down below. So if you ever want to book a reading with me, you can. It's always online via Etsy. And you get a really neat video of mine uploaded to YouTube, but privately. Only you and I have the link, and you can like watch that in private as many times as you want, and even refer back to it like a year later. That should be fun. Thank you for watching. Bye, bitches.